The film begins with a girl named Aubrey attending the funeral of her friend Grace. It is evident that Aubrey is deeply saddened by the loss of her friend. After the funeral, Aubrey meets a girl named Alice, who is a mutual friend of Grace. This is the first time Alice has met Aubrey, and she warmly welcomes her. Alice informs Aubrey that Grace always talked about her and tells her about a letter that Grace left containing cryptic messages about cassette tapes with specific recordings. Grace had told Alice that Aubrey was the only one who would understand what was on those tapes. Intrigued, Aubrey decides to visit Grace's house, bringing along a copy of the house key. It is revealed that Grace's house has 2 floors, with the ground floor serving as a cafe and the second floor as Grace's private studio. As Aubrey enters the apartment, she goes to the sea urchins that Grace used to raise and places a starfish on them to feed them. Aubrey then goes to Grace's turtle and kisses it, feeding it as well. Afterward, Aubrey enters Grace's bedroom and finds an old radio, a recording device, and a wireless device of old models. Aubrey remains seated for a while, feeling sad and lonely after losing her only friend. After some time, Aubrey decides to go to sleep and enters Grace's bedroom to find her bed. Suddenly, Aubrey hears a voice speaking on Grace's wireless device. She answers and learns that Grace has passed away and that Aubrey is the one currently in the apartment. Aubrey is startled when the transmission suddenly cuts off. She tries to go back to sleep, but she dreams of Grace, which frightens her. Aubrey gets up, scared from her sleep, only to find that the river has flooded, and she discovers that the electricity is out. She tries to call for emergency help, but the phone line is also down. Aubrey decides to go to the store next to the house to get a generator. She's surprised to find that the city streets are empty, with no people around. She also hears strange and eerie sounds. Frightened, Aubrey quickly returns home, where she sees someone running towards her in fear. Aubrey runs after him to find out what is going on, but this person disappears, and Uber is shocked when she finds devastation on all the buildings in the street and sees traces of blood on the ground. Suddenly, a very scary creature appears in front of her, causing Uber to be afraid. She runs quickly to her house, closes the door behind her, and hides. The strange creature follows her to the house and tries to break the door. While the creature is banging on the door with great force to break it and invade the house, Uber finds herself receiving a wireless call from an unknown person. The person asks her to close her eyes, hold the wireless device, and go towards the strange creature. Uber obeys the instructions of the unknown person and approaches the door. Then, strange sounds and signals come out of the wireless device, causing the creature to leave. After that, the unknown person asks her to go to the second floor and lock the door behind her. Uber is confused and asks him how he knows her name and how he knows what is happening to her. He tells her that he knows all this through signals and sound waves. He also tells her that he and Grace, her friend, were working together to try to solve the mystery of these signals, which are related to the strange creatures. He asks her to cooperate with him and uncover the secret behind these signals. He also informs her that Grace found certain things in the apartment because Grace wants Uber to continue what she was doing. Then the transmission is interrupted, and it appears that Uber is scared and terrified, not knowing what to do. She decides to search for something that Grace left in the apartment. While she is searching, she finds a golden cassette tape with the phrase, "The signal mix will save the world," written on it. Uber goes to the recording device to play the cassette tape and is surprised to find another cassette tape inside the device with the number 7 written on it. Uber takes out the cassette tape number 7 from the recording device and replaces it with the cassette tape she found earlier. She plays it and hears the voice of her friend Grace, who tells her that she recorded this cassette tape specifically for her because she knows that no one will believe her except Uber. Grace says that there is a group of people who were able to communicate a set of Western signals and audio frequencies, but they did not announce them at all. But Grace was helping these people in collecting these strange signals. She was searching for these signals in all types of transmission waves on planet Earth. Grace told Aubrey that these signals are connected to a specific sequence, and she was able to decipher all of them. She also communicated to Aubrey that these signals are linked to extraterrestrial beings from another planet. These beings move through the discovered signals and frequencies. That's why Grace insisted that she must gather these tapes, take control of the alien beings, and solve the mystery behind the signal sequence. Aubrey knew that Grace had recorded the signals on cassette tapes, the same tapes they used to listen to music together. Grace assured Aubrey that she had confidence in her abilities and that she would easily find the tapes and solve the puzzle. Aubrey learned that there were a total of 7 tapes containing the strange signals and frequencies. Grace had distributed the tapes and hid them in different locations in the city. She asked Aubrey to search for them and find them. Grace concluded her message by telling Aubrey that the decision would be in her hands. Either she would save planet Earth or live alone in the world without humans. After hearing Grace's message, Aubrey felt tense and confused, unsure of how to act. She decided to leave the house to investigate the cause of the power outage. As she walked around the house, she heard very strange signals and felt someone approaching her from behind. Aubrey guessed that it could be one of the alien beings, so she picked up a stone from the ground to defend herself. But when Aubrey struck the being, she suddenly found herself back in the house, facing a certain painting on the wall. Behind the painting, Aubrey found a cup with the number 2 written on it, as well as some journals belonging to Grace. Curious, Aubrey sat down and opened the journals to see what was written in them. She found dates from ancient years, equations, and many symbols. While Aubrey was reading the agendas, suddenly the unknown person spoke to her on the radio and told her that she must be very careful while collecting signals. Aubrey realizes that these signals, when combined, open up temporal gateways. This explains the presence of the strange creatures on Earth, as they have arrived through specific temporal gateways. Aubrey asks the mysterious person about the disappearance of humans in the city. The person replies that he doesn't know exactly what happened to them, whether they all died or if they are hiding in fear. Aubrey learns from the mysterious person that these signals have been present on Earth for a very long time, and their repetition is the cause of wars and natural disasters. The person tells Aubrey that she must find the correct sequence of signals in order to close the gateways between worlds and save Earth. Aubrey informs the mysterious person that she has always seen the world as empty, with no one else in the universe except for herself. This time, Aubrey decides to cut off communication with the mysterious person and decides not to gather the signals or save Earth because she is enjoying her life too much. Days pass, and one day Aubrey dreams of a terrifying monster attacking her. In her dream, she fights back with all her strength, but when she wakes up, she finds herself hitting the wall and bleeding. Aubrey decides to listen to Grace's tape again and focuses on what Grace is saying. From Grace's words, Aubrey learns that there is a map on the walls of the house, showing all the places where Grace hid the cassette tapes. Aubrey searches for the map and discovers all the locations where Grace hid the tapes. After preparing herself, Aubrey decides to start her journey to collect the tapes. Her first destination is the supermarket. Aubrey continues to search every corner of the supermarket until she finds tape number 3. As she explores further, Aubrey notices bloodstains on the floor and follows them until she reaches the supermarket's storage room. There, she discovers a dead body. Aubrey quickly exits the supermarket, but as she walks down the street, she hears strong signals, and suddenly one of the strange creatures appears and starts chasing her. Aubrey starts running. Aubrey runs as fast as she can to escape from the strange creature. She hides inside one of the cars on the street. The strange creature comes after her and tries to break the windows of the car to attack her. Aubrey looks out tape number 3, plays it loudly, and closes her eyes. After a while, you find yourself sleeping under the car, and the strange creature disappears. Then, you go to the cinema and enter the theater with a cinema ticket that has a specific seat number. The ticket, which she had with her, has a bell on it that she shows off to her friends. She looks for the seat until she finds it, and underneath it, she finds cassette tape number 4. After leaving the cinema to continue her journey, she is shocked by a strange and enormous creature. She wonders about the appearance of this creature and the mysterious lighting that surrounds it. Night falls, and she returns home, but before entering, another creature appears in front of her. She panics and falls to the ground, taking out the recording device from her bag and playing cassette tape number 4. The creature hears the signals on the tape and disappears. Then, she enters the house and goes to her friend's writing desk, searching for cassette tape number 5 until she finds it. She's exhausted from walking all day, so she falls asleep. To her surprise, her friend Gris appears and asks her opinion about what she has discovered so far. She asks Gris whether all of this is a dream or reality, but Gris doesn't answer her question. She asks Gris what she wants, and Gris tells her that she doesn't care whether all of this is a dream or reality. All that matters to her is that she is alone. She tells Gris that she has been having strange and terrifying dreams, feeling like her limbs are falling apart. Gris tells her that these are symptoms of withdrawal and distancing oneself from the world. She asks her why she wants to distance herself from people and be alone. She tells Gris that she feels guilty because she left her alone during her illness and never asked about her. Gris tells her that she forgives her, but she tells Gris that there is something else that makes her hate life. Gris realizes that she betrayed her fiancé, Edward, and asks her to accept her life with its ups and downs and to live with it. And she must decide whether she will save the world or not. On the second day, Uber Y decides to listen to cassette number 4 because it contains a song she really loves. While listening to the song, she hears strange signals and frequencies in the background. She becomes very focused on these signals and imagines herself on a movie set, holding the clapperboard and shooting a scene where she meets the guy she cheated on her fiancé Edward with. Uber feels guilty and takes off her headphones. After a while, she calms down and plays the cassette again. This time, she imagines herself in front of her fiancé Edward, who is upset with her for cheating. Uber regrets her actions and decides to meet the guy she cheated with. They meet by the sea and Uber holds his hand. They both drown before they can start a relationship. Afterward, Uber takes off her headphones and returns to her real life. She leaves the house to search for cassette number 6, but suddenly, a strange creature appears. Uber decides to play a cassette with signals instead, thinking that the creature can't see her. Her guess is correct, and the creature walks past her without noticing. Uber finally arrives at the radio station and finds cassette number 6. Now she has collected all 7 cassettes. She uses the equipment at the radio station to adjust the frequencies and sound waves and plays the cassettes with the signals from the strange creatures. However, Uber doesn't notice any changes around her. Suddenly, the unknown person speaks to her through the wireless device and reveals that he has been monitoring her actions. He tells her that the order of the cassettes she played didn't close the entrances between the worlds, but instead opened them. Uber gathers the cassettes and notices the letters forming the phrase "forgiveness and forgetting" on them. She arranges the cassettes in the order of the letters and plays them. After leaving the radio station, Uber heads towards one of the entrances to the time portals and enters it. Memories of Uber's past unfold before her like a movie reel. It becomes clear that Uber is not dealing with her guilt, and everything that has happened is her way of escaping her sorrows. Goodbye,